Hey everyone, have you ever written a super broad jQuery selector, grabbed this massive pile of elements on your page, and then realized you only actually needed one specific item hiding somewhere in the middle of that pile? Well, if you're familiar with CSS pseudo-classes, you already know how powerful it can be to narrow things down. Think of jQuery filters as CSS pseudo-classes on steroids. They are absolutely the ultimate tool for refining your DOM manipulation down to the exact element you need. In this explainer, we're going to completely master them.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The power of filters. 2. Positional versus structural. 3. Zero-based logic. 4. The exclusionary nut. And 5. Targeting by attribute. Starting off with Section 1, the power of filters, refining selectors.
Now, before we get into any complex DOM manipulation, we have to establish the golden rule of jQuery filter syntax. Just like pseudo-classes in CSS, filters always, and I mean always, start with a colon. When jQuery sees that colon attached to a selector, say attached to a p tag or a list item, it immediately knows, okay, I need to refine my search. It's basically your programmatic way of saying, hold on, I don't want all of them, I just want the ones that match this specific condition.
Section 2, positional versus structural filters, the common gotcha.
So there is a really stark contrast in how jQuery interprets these two specific commands, and it trips up a lot of developers. Let's say you want to put a red border around a specific unordered list inside your contacts section. If you use the positional filter, just colon first, jQuery simply scans the container, finds the very first unordered list it encounters overall, and grabs it. Done. But what if you use the structural filter, colon first child? Well, if there happens to be an H2 heading sitting right above that list in your HTML, your filter will actually fail. Why? Because the unordered list is no longer the absolute first child of that parent container. The H2 is. First child and last child care deeply about your strict HTML hierarchy. First and last, they just care about the order in which jQuery found your matched elements. Confusing the two will absolutely throw your results off.
Moving on to Section 3, Zero-Based Indexing Logic, the JavaScript Counting Rule. Okay, we literally have to pause for a second, because this single number is the source of so many bugs. Always remember, JavaScript counting starts at 0, not 1, 0. This fundamental rule drastically changes how index-based filters behave. Let's think about how this actually plays out.
Let's say you have 5 list items in your navigation, and you want to give the even items a blue border. You're looking at your screen and you probably think, okay, item 2 and item 4, those are even. But wait, because JavaScript assigns the very first item an index of 0, item 1 is technically index 0, item 3 is index 2, item 5 is index 4. 0, 2, and 4 are even numbers in JavaScript's eyes. So the really crucial takeaway here is that using the colon even filter will actually highlight the first, third, and fifth items on your screen. Meanwhile, the colon odd filter grabs the second and fourth items, since their underlining indices are 1 and 3. It feels totally counterintuitive until you firmly anchor your brain in that zero-based logic.
And this exact same logic applies to the less than and greater than filters. If you use :LT with a number 3 in parentheses, you're asking for elements with an index strictly less than 3. Counting from 0, that gives you index 0, 1, and 2, which means you're actually selecting the first 3 elements on the page. Conversely, :GT with a 2 grabs everything with an index strictly greater than 2, so it skips 0, 1, and 2, and targets index 3, 4, and so on. These filters are incredibly powerful for targeting specific chunks of large lists, provided you just remember how JavaScript counts.
Section 4. The exclusionary, not filter. Getting specific by excluding.
Sometimes the best way to get what you want is by specifying what you don't want. Here we're passing another selector completely inside the filter itself. In this example, we're telling jQuery, grab every single section on this entire page, but do not give me the section with the ID of contact. If you want to put a green border on your point of sale section and your client section, but leave the contact section completely alone, this is how you do it. But you really have to watch your syntax here. Because your main jQuery selector is likely wrapped in double quotes in your code, you absolutely must wrap the inner selector, the hash contact part, in single quotes. If you were to drop double quotes inside of double quotes, jQuery would misread the string, think the command ended early, and the whole thing would just escape and break. When you're using the not filter, your quote management has to be perfect.
Finally, Section 5, Targeting Elements by Attribute, utilizing HTML attributes.
We are no longer just looking at the element type, we are literally looking inside the element's HTML tags. By placing an attribute name inside square brackets, you're creating an attribute filter. This command right here essentially says, find every single image on this page, but only select the ones that actually possess an alt attribute. It doesn't even matter what the alt text says. It could be a picture of a dog, a logo, or complete gibberish. As long as that attribute physically exists on the HTML tag, jQuery is going to grab it. You could use this to, say, give all valid images a pink border, leaving any image missing an alt tag untouched so you can fix it later.
But what if you need laser precision? It's simple. You just add an equal sign and a specific value. Now jQuery is bypassing every image on the page, bypassing every image that just happens to have an alt tag, and it is strictly seeking out images where the alt tag is perfectly equal to the word quote. You might use this to apply a specialized purple border to just one specific icon on a massive page. It's exactly the same syntax as before, just narrowed down to a precise, literal match.
Honestly, we've only scratched the surface here today. If we tried to cover every single filter, this explainer would easily be over an hour long. There are filters for disabled form inputs, hidden elements, elements currently in animation, and so much more. I highly encourage you to explore the selector category on the official jQuery API documentation. The ability to quickly traverse the DOM and extract exactly what you need is a true superpower in front-end development. So, armed with positional logic, zero-based indexing, and exclusionary rules, what will you filter next?